What's up, guys, and welcome to the weekly Q&A. Real quick before questions, I just want to mention, in case anyone missed it, we are doing a giveaway to celebrate hitting 300,000 subscribers. We're giving away a Lego Snowspeeder, so make sure you enter to win. The link for that is in the description. On to our first question. Emil Solvang wants to know if I think that Mark Hamill dislikes the direction they're taking Luke Skywalker in The Last Jedi. Now, based off of some interviews and videos that we've seen since Celebration around that time, it does kind of sound like he disagrees with the direction they're going with. Now, whether or not that means that he dislikes it or not, that I don't know. But I do think that he just keeps saying how surprised he was when he read Rian Johnson's script. And he said when he read the Force Awakens script, he loved everyone's parts but his, because he wasn't really in it. And he said he had a similar reaction to reading the Last Jedi script. And he even said that he pitched some different ideas that were from Legends, which Rian turned down, because Rian said that he wanted to do something different and something that we hadn't seen before, which is a great thing, and I'll come back to that. But I do think it's possible that Mark Hamill isn't crazy about what they're doing with Luke in The Last Jedi. I don't know that that really matters to us. I think that Mark Hamill is an absolute professional, and whether he likes the direction or not, he's going to tell the story that the director hired him to tell. Not that they were going to go hire anyone else to play Luke Skywalker, but I think he's going to defer to Rian Johnson and trust Rian Johnson to handle this. And they both said they were scared about this direction, and I think they're on the same page. I think he is just surprised at the direction, like I said. But to me, I don't think this is anything we should be worried about, because the biggest criticism, as we've talked about for The Force Awakens, was how familiar it all felt. And Rian Johnson here, it sounds like he wants to do something very unfamiliar. He doesn't want to retread ground that even the expanded universe tread over. So I think this is really good news. And to me, I'm excited to see something we haven't seen before. And this all sounds very bold and exciting. So I do hope that Mark Hamill kind of gets on board if he isn't, only because I want him to be happy. Like, obviously he's very passionate about Luke as a character, which he deserves to be. He's earned that. So I want him to be happy with this portrayal that he's giving, but I'm also excited at the notion that we might see something wildly different. Sam Stott wants to know if there's any canon material set in between episodes 1 and 2, because there's a 10-year gap there that's pretty largely unexplored. There is one story currently set there. It's the Obi-Wan and Anakin comic, which was 5 issues. It was good, I would say worth reading if you're interested in that era, but not absolutely a must-read. Right now, between episodes 1 and 2, and then 5 and 6, those are the 2 areas where we have the least amount of information right now, but I'm sure as we just give it time, they're going to flesh out those time periods. Chris Martinez asks if the HoloNet carried any media like TV shows or movies, and he also wants to know if the Empire controlled all of that. Holodramas were a thing in Legends, and they're still a thing in canon. We know of one titled The Octave Stairway in canon so far. That was in the book Catalyst. As for the Empire controlling it, yes, it sounds like it very much fell under government control after the fall of the Republic and the rise of the Empire. I think they either approved or produced pretty much everything that was put out like that. Matt Thomas wants to know how Darth Vader force-choked Admiral Ozzel in The Empire Strikes Back when they weren't even in the same room. I think he force-choked him the same way he would force-choke anyone. I don't think proximity has anything to do with the Force. We even see in the Clone Wars, Palpatine force chokes Dooku, and they're not even on the same planet. So I don't think that Vader has to be in the same room as anyone. I don't think he even has to be looking at someone in order to force choke them, but I do think that it helps him visualize it and get it done. Lord Hosk asks why Luke couldn't be found by using that map fragment that BB-8 was carrying. Even though it was incomplete, surely they could have matched up star patterns or something and at least narrowed down their field of search. The whole map plot device felt a little off to me for this exact reason, but I guess it is a very big galaxy, and I mean, I'm not an astronomer, I don't know anything about matching star patterns. It's probably a lot more complicated than we're making it out to be, and it probably didn't help that the Empire was trying to remove the Jedi Order from history, so any records of the First Jedi Temple were probably just gone, or at least very hard to come by. But I mean, when it comes down to it, I agree with you. I think they could have found something a little better than just a map to Luke Skywalker, but I guess that would have been a little more complicated to explain to the more casual audience, and it would have taken up screen time, so they just went with like, hey, it's a map. We have to find a map. Everyone knows what a map is, so that's what we got. That's it for patron questions. If you're a patron and you didn't see your question answered here, just head over to Patreon where I left you a written response. If you're not a patron, you can learn more by following the link in the description. Just $1 a month will get you access to some extra Star Wars Explained goodies like monthly giveaways and access to archived live streams, and the combined donations really go a long way in helping support the channel. On to YouTube questions. Oliver Piatilla asks what happened to the Tantive 4 after it was captured above Tatooine. In Legends, it was destroyed and its crew was killed. In canon, we currently don't know, but if I were a betting man, I would say the exact same thing happened. Either that, or they were all taken to the Death Star where they were put into prison, not rescued, and then died in the explosion. Boba Fett wants to know if he's going to appear in any future saga films. Honestly, I kinda doubt it. I don't know why, it's just sort of a gut feeling thing, but I don't see him being totally necessary in the saga anymore, especially now that Han Solo's dead. I can absolutely see him popping up in anthology movies. It's just, for some reason, the saga, I don't know. Again, this is just me completely speculating without any evidence at all. I could be absolutely wrong, but I just see him in more side stories or like standalone Star Wars stories, books, comics, TV, that kind of thing. Sturfelt asks what happened to Cad Bane after the Clone Wars. Right now, we don't really know, but Dave Filoni has talked about how in Star Wars Rebels he's been able to wrap up a lot of the loose ends from the Clone Wars, so hopefully he pops up or we get some more information. I do think that it's possible that he could have died in that shootout he had with him and Boba Fett, where Boba Fett got the dent in his helmet. We know for sure that Boba Fett walked away from that fight, so it could be that it was implied in that clip that Cad Bane was killed right then and there. Jolie United wants to know what I think of Callus's new haircut. I assume you're talking about Rebels Season 4, and I'm glad that he's growing it out now that he's not a part of the Empire and he can be a little more loose and casual, but I'm going to be honest, I already miss hot Callus hair. Han and Boba 310 asks what my stance is on the possibility of Rey and Luke becoming something along the lines of a gray Jedi. We know that that's not a term that Lucasfilm uses, but that's all we can call it right now because we don't know where they're headed. Anyway, I'm very much for it. I think it's really interesting. I think it's a different direction, like I said before, something that I am excited to see because in Legends, the whole Sith versus Jedi thing, it got a little tired. I mean, Darth Vader and Palpatine were supposed to be the last of the Sith, and then like, oh, Palpatine got cloned, and then like, oh, there was this secret Sith, and like they kept popping up, and it gives more closure to Darth Vader's story if the Sith are dead and gone. So I'm happy with a new kind of dark side using villain, and also, I think that the new canon has been painting the Jedi Order as less noble than what we saw in Legends. Like, they do a lot of shifty things. Yoda admits that they lost their way. As I was doing like that whole canon timeline video, there's a long history of the Jedi being very opposed to any ideas that they just don't like. So they can be a little bit extreme. And I mean, the Jedi and the Sith are kind of two sides of the same coin. They're just very much opposite. And either way, that can be dangerous. So I like the idea of Luke taking things in a more middle ground approach if that's what's happening. That's all the time I have for questions today. If you want to leave a question for next week, just put it in the comments below or sign up for Patreon to join our weekly Q&A discussion. If you haven't already, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. As always, thanks for watching, and may the Force be with you.